Canada built tech giants that once dominated their fields, household names that filled our offices, pockets, and living rooms. But the tech world is ruthless, and even the brightest stars can fade fast. From the telecom empire that wired the nation to the smartphone that defined a generation, these 10 Canadian companies rose high and fell hard. They left behind nostalgic memories, iconic logos, and a trail of what-ifs. Let's revisit the tech brands that Canadians loved, used every day, and watched vanish into history. Nortel wasn't just a company, it was a Canadian institution, a source of national pride that stretched back to the 1890s. For generations, Nortel meant telecom dominance, the phones on our desks, the switches routing our calls, the routers powering early internet backbones. Walk into any Canadian office in the 80s or 90s, and you'd see Nortel gear everywhere. Sleek Contempra desk phones with their distinctive curves, or the LN10 Harmony phones that felt solid and dependable in your hand. Nortel's logo was stamped on corporate PBX systems, and their holiday ads filled TV screens showcasing cutting-edge tech wrapped in warm, family-friendly messaging. But the company that seemed invincible crumbled spectacularly. The dot-com bubble burst in the early 2000s, and Nortel's overexpansion, declining sales, and devastating accounting scandals brought it to its knees. By 2009, Nortel declared bankruptcy, selling off its patents and divisions piece by piece. Canadians watched in disbelief as a titan collapsed, leaving behind only memories of those iconic desk phones, the hum of Nortel switches in server rooms, and the bittersweet pride of a homegrown empire that once connected the world. Mobilicity burst onto the scene in 2009 with a splash of bright orange and a promise to shake up Canada's wireless industry. It was the scrappy underdog, the budget carrier that offered affordable data plans and no contract freedom at a time when the big three dominated. Canadians flocked to Mobilicity kiosks in shopping malls, lured by promotions like free phones, unlimited data deals, and the cheeky "Choose More" ad campaign that made switching carriers feel rebellious. You could walk out with a new BlackBerry or Android phone feeling like you'd beaten the system. Mobilicity's network was limited to major cities, Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary, but for urban dwellers, it was a breath of fresh air. The brand felt young, energetic, and distinctly anti-establishment. But intense competition, mounting debt, and network coverage gaps quickly took their toll. By 2013, Mobilicity was struggling to survive, bouncing between potential buyers and financial lifelines. Finally, in 2016, Rogers absorbed what was left, retiring the Mobilicity name for good. The bright orange logo vanished, the kiosks closed, and the dream of a true budget alternative faded. For a brief, hopeful moment, Mobilicity felt like change, until it became just another cautionary tale. In the late 90s, 360 Networks embodied the wild optimism of the dot-com boom, a company that promised to rewire the continent with lightning-fast fiber optic cables. Founded during the internet gold rush, 360 Networks laid thousands of miles of dark fiber along railway corridors, linking Canadian cities like Toronto and Vancouver to a sprawling North American network. The vision was grand: build the backbone of the digital future, sell bandwidth to telecom giants, and ride the wave of exploding internet demand. Investors loved it. 360 Networks' IPO in 2000 was a sensation, and its stock soared as tech fever gripped the markets. For a moment, it seemed unstoppable. But when the dot-com bubble burst in 2001, reality hit hard. Demand for bandwidth collapsed, competitors flooded the market, and 360 Networks found itself drowning in debt with fiber lines sitting unused. By mid-2001, the company filed for bankruptcy protection, and its assets were carved up and sold. Most Canadians never saw 360 Networks gear directly, but its cables quietly carried data that powered faster internet connections and long-distance calls. Today, 360 Networks is remembered as a symbol of dot-com excess, a high-flying dream that burned bright, crashed hard, and left behind only buried cables and cautionary tales whispered in telecom boardrooms. Newbridge Networks was a quiet giant of Canadian tech, founded in the mid-80s and built on the promise of smarter, faster data networks. While it never had the household name recognition of Nortel, Newbridge was a powerhouse in the industry, crafting sophisticated ATM switches, routers, and voice data hardware that telecom companies and big corporations relied on. If you worked in IT or telecom in the 90s, you knew Newbridge. Its Main Street ATM switch series and distinctive channel bank devices were staples in central offices and data centers across Canada. These were the invisible workhorses routing calls, linking offices, and powering early ISDN and ATM-based internet backbones. Newbridge thrived quietly, innovating in the shadows while others grabbed headlines. But in 2000, French telecom giant Alcatel came calling with a buyout offer, and Newbridge's independent run ended. The acquisition folded Newbridge's tech into Alcatel's product lines, and the brand slowly faded. By the mid-2000s, Newbridge was effectively gone, absorbed and rebranded into oblivion. For telecom veterans, Newbridge still sparks nostalgia, memories of reliable gear, late-night troubleshooting sessions, and a distinctly Canadian company that built the networks connecting the country before vanishing into corporate history. ATI Technologies was Canada's graphics card king, a homegrown chip maker that powered millions of PC gaming rigs and multimedia experiences from the mid-80s onward. Founded in Ontario, ATI became synonymous with cutting-edge visuals. Its Radeon line of GPUs battled NVIDIA for dominance, delivering the graphics horsepower that gamers craved. Walk into any computer store in the late 90s or early 2000s and you'd see rows of colorful ATI Radeon boxes promising smoother frame rates, sharper textures, and the ability to crank settings to ultra. Canadian gamers felt a special pride booting up their PCs knowing an ATI card was inside, often emblazoned with the red ATI logo. The All-in-Wonder series was legendary. Graphics cards that doubled as TV tuners, letting you watch and record shows directly on your PC, a feature that felt futuristic and impossibly cool. Tech magazines were filled with ATI ads and reviews, and the brand became a badge of honor among enthusiasts. But in 2006, AMD acquired ATI for over $5 billion, aiming to integrate graphics processing into its broader chip strategy. Slowly, the ATI brand faded. By 2010, AMD dropped the name entirely, rebranding everything under its own banner. The Radeon name survived, but ATI vanished, leaving behind nostalgic memories of colorful boxes, competitive benchmarks, and the pride of a Canadian company that once made the pixels dance. VoodooPC was the dream machine maker, a Calgary-born company that catered to hardcore gamers and performance junkies who demanded the absolute best. Founded in 1991, Voodoo built custom, high-end gaming desktops that were overclocked, liquid-cooled, and packed with the most powerful components money could buy. These weren't just computers, they were status symbols, rolling into LAN parties and esports tournaments with Voodoo's distinctive DNA badge glowing like a badge of honor. Canadian gamers saved up for months, poring over Voodoo's configurator, customizing every component, choosing wild case designs and LED lighting setups that made their rigs look like something from a sci-fi movie. Voodoo's towers were beasts, massive, loud, and beautiful, built to dominate Quake, Unreal Tournament, and later Call of Duty. In 2006, HP acquired VoodooPC, hoping to inject some gaming credibility into its lineup. For a while, HP kept the Voodoo spirit alive with products like the Blackbird gaming PC. But by 2013, the brand was quietly retired, absorbed into HP's broader Omen gaming line. The Voodoo name vanished, but the memories remain. Those epic liquid-cooled rigs, the thrill of unboxing a custom-built beast, and the pride of owning a machine crafted by Canadians for gamers who refused to compromise. Gandalf Technologies was a pioneer in the shadows, a company founded in 1971 that most Canadians never heard of, but whose gear quietly powered connections across the country. Gandalf specialized in data communications, modems, terminal adapters, and multiplexers that let computer terminals dial into distant mainframes back when networking meant something entirely different. If you worked in a university computer lab or a large corporate office in the 70s and 80s, you might have used a Gandalf box, a small beige device sitting next to a terminal waiting for you to punch in a 2-digit code to connect to a specific host computer. It felt almost magical. Press a button, hear the modem screech and hiss, and suddenly you are linked to a distant machine. Gandalf also built radio data terminals that powered taxi dispatch systems, letting drivers communicate with dispatchers wirelessly long before cell phones. For years, Gandalf thrived in its niche, but the rise of TCP/IP networking and the internet changed everything. By the mid-90s, Gandalf's proprietary systems felt outdated, and in 1997, the company went bankrupt. For those who remember, Gandalf evokes a specific era: the clatter of terminals, the patient wait for connections, and the strange satisfaction of coaxing technology to work with cryptic codes and patience. Solidum Systems was a name known only to insiders, a fabless semiconductor company born in Ottawa's tech boom of the late 90s. Solidum designed specialized network search chips, tiny brains that lived inside high-end routers and switches, managing traffic at blistering 10 gigabit per second speeds. Most Canadians never saw a Solidum chip, but they felt its impact every time their ISP delivered faster internet or smoother network performance. Solidum's technology was all about rule-based classification, sorting data packets at wire speed, deciding where they should go, and making networks smarter and more efficient. It was cutting-edge stuff, the kind of innovation that made Ottawa's tech corridor buzz with excitement and venture capital. In 2002, American chip giant IDT acquired Solidum, folding its technology into its own product lines. The Solidum name faded, and by 2009, IDT closed the Ottawa office entirely. For tech veterans who worked in Ottawa's booming late 90s scene, Solidum represents a bittersweet chapter, a moment when Canadian chip design seemed poised to conquer the world, only to be absorbed, rebranded, and forgotten. The chips may still hum inside routers somewhere, but the brand and the dream vanished into the invisible infrastructure of the internet. SR Telecom was the wireless pioneer that promised to connect the unconnected, a company founded in 1981 that specialized in fixed broadband wireless systems long before Wi-Fi became a household word. SR Telecom's gear, especially its Symmetry product line, delivered voice and data services over wireless links, making it a lifeline for rural communities and underserved urban areas where running cables was impractical or too expensive. ISPs across Canada deployed SR Telecom equipment to beam internet and phone service to farms, remote towns, and difficult terrain, bridging the digital divide one tower at a time. In the early 2000s, SR Telecom bet big on WiMAX, the next-generation wireless broadband technology that promised to revolutionize connectivity. The company's flashy Symmetry MX product launches at telecom trade shows generated buzz and optimism. This was the future, and SR Telecom was leading the charge. But WiMAX never achieved the mass adoption everyone predicted, and financial troubles began mounting. By 2010, SR Telecom filed for bankruptcy, its assets sold off piece by piece. For Canadians in rural areas who finally got reliable internet thanks to SR Telecom's towers, the company remains a quiet hero. For telecom insiders, it's a reminder of how quickly fortunes can shift. A company that bridged distances and dreamed big, only to see those dreams collapse under financial strain and shifting technologies. BlackBerry wasn't just a company, it was a cultural phenomenon, a symbol of Canadian innovation that conquered the world before crashing spectacularly. Founded in the 1980s as Research in Motion, BlackBerry pioneered the smartphone revolution, turning pagers into powerful communication devices with full QWERTY keyboards, email push technology, and the addictive BlackBerry Messenger, BBM. By the mid-2000s, BlackBerrys were everywhere, in boardrooms, classrooms, buses, and coffee shops. Business executives clutched their BlackBerry bolds like lifelines, thumbs flying across tiny keys. Teenagers obsessed over BBM, trading pins, customizing profiles, and sending instant messages that felt faster and more private than SMS. That glowing red notification light became iconic, a tiny beacon promising new messages, emails, or notifications. BlackBerry's physical keyboard felt impossibly satisfying, and its security and reliability made it the gold standard for professionals and governments worldwide. Canadians felt immense pride. This was our tech giant, our Apple, our Nokia. But then the iPhone arrived in 2007, followed by Android, and everything changed. BlackBerry clung to its keyboard, dismissed touchscreens, and underestimated the app ecosystem. Sales plummeted, market share collapsed, and by 2016, BlackBerry abandoned hardware entirely. The company survived, pivoting to software and security, but the magic was gone. For Canadians who grew up with BlackBerries, the nostalgia runs deep. Memories of BBM conversations, that satisfying keyboard click, and the bittersweet pride of watching our greatest tech success rise, dominate, and ultimately fade into legend. These 10 companies shaped how Canadians communicated, gamed, and connected until they didn't. They remind us that even giants can stumble, and innovation alone isn't enough. But their legacy lives on in the memories, the devices we loved, and the pride we still feel for homegrown tech that once conquered the world.